that's what really PowerHub is in a nutshell, is mastering your mind, leveling up your greatness.
Welcome back to the Passion to Paycheck podcast. On today's episode, we have Cepi. Hey, Cepi, how's everything going?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on to the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
So to get started, if you can just tell the audience a little bit about your background and what you're currently working on.
All right. So I guess my background starts from the age of 14. So I've had the hustle and grind since I was 14 years old. I've been in the workforce since that time.
Oh.
So I kind of joke and tell people, yeah, I've been in the workforce since I was 14 and I'm 27, but that's a lie, right? I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I have 5 children. And so with that being said, I have a heavy plate, but I've had a plethora of different experiences. So I have anything from restaurant to retail, the oil industry. I've been in the mortgage lending. I've tapped into family law. Not that I did the family law side, but I assisted. My higher education's in the medical background. I've done IT support. I've had
you've done it all.
Experience.
That's an extensive list.
Yeah.
Pretty extensive. I think even more so because it comes to like my parents just instilling that if you want something, you got to work for it.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
So that's really where I'm at. That's been ingrained in my DNA. And I always tell everybody I have my mom's hustle and grind, and I have my dad's people skills.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that I haven't covered something is pretty minimal. More so recently, I stepped into the staffing industry about a year ago. I tapped into it when I was 19, but they placed me out in an assignment, and then I stayed there for 2 years. So I didn't really get to do the back end side of staffing up until more recently.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we'll cover a little bit about that and the reason why PowerHub started, actually. So
Yeah.
more so in the last 5 years, I would say, I stepped into, let me go back. So when I was putting myself through college, I actually commuted to North Hollywood to get to go into medical school. And during that venture, I was with State Farm Insurance. So I was right here at the Old River Facilities Operations Center. And during that course of time, that's how I elected my profession, my career path. I was like, okay, I have to do something medical because that's always going to be around forever, right? Mm-hmm. Insurance was taking a whole different route. They were closing out the California branch, and they were moving their hubs out to Texas, Arizona, and like 2 other hubs.
And this, what year was this?
This was back in 2018.
2018, okay.
Yes. So I ended up, so this was back in 2012, to be honest with you, when they told us this. So I put myself through college. I finished college in 2014, did 2 years of that. And as I started stepping out of insurance, so that's when I did my IT support, I ended up, I wanted to find something in the medical, but I couldn't land anything because I was very entry level. I had the college under my belt, but I didn't have the experience. So they didn't pick me up there. So the next thing is society teaches us, hey, get something that's going to give you benefits and going to give you like a 401k, right? Year-long pension or whatever that looks like. So I opted to look for work in the city and the county. I could not land anything. Wow. So it was a struggle. So trying to get something out, trying to land something in the career path that I had chosen was very difficult. So at the end of the day, long story short, it took me a year to find something as I was exiting insurance. And after that, I ended up going to one of my previous employers, which is Apple One. One of the gals there reached out to me and she's like, hey, let me interview you. You have all this experience. Come and talk to me. So she interviewed me and she says, I have the perfect fit for you. You have the people skills. You have lengthy knowledge. Let me get you into the IT space. So she got me into IT space. I did that so well that as I started plugging myself into the community, because one of the things that I wasn't exposed to was the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. So through that, I was exposed through the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. They had a membership there. So I'm like, okay, they're not using this membership. Let me start utilizing this membership and see where that takes me. Because if I'm going to be reaching out to people in my community, I need to know how to sell them or how to entice them for IT.
Right.
Because as you guys know, IT is not something like sexy to sell, right?
Right.
It's a very, like, you won't know you need IT until something breaks down, right? So that's not top of mind all the time. So that's when I started getting out into the community. That's when I was exposed to the chamber. That's back in 2018.
Okay.
So mind you, kind of going back, it took me a year to land this position. So 3 months into my role, I started getting scouted by other community organizations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is the missing piece. I should have been out here a long time ago. But obviously, like that, that opened up so many opportunities for me. I met so many great people. So just highly speaking of the Greater Bakersfield Chamber, I started doing more of the things that I wasn't comfortable with. So me coming out and doing the things for the community and seeing how they wanted us to sell IT for them, I was called a marketing and events manager. Marketing events manager for an IT company here locally. And so, like I was saying, 3 months in, I started getting vetted by other organizations. I turned them down because I love having longevity with organizations. And then I would have my side hustle. So like people would ask me, hey, can you do this part-time for me? Or can you do this or whatever? And then I would say, okay, yeah, I'll take it. It's extra money.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up not taking those opportunities, but kind of like 10, 11 months in, KGET Channel 17 started reaching out to me and saying like, hey, Cepi, let's have coffee. I see what you're doing out in the community. We'd like to have a conversation with you, see if you're interested in becoming an integrated digital specialist 3. And I'm like, what is that?
Sounds
what
interesting.
is this, right? And so high cliff notes on that is basically digital marketing, right? So if you know digital marketing, it's SEO, SEM,
Google, social media,
all that.
Yeah.
It's Google. It's really like the higher level digital. It's not social media. You can do social media, but we didn't really tap into the social media aspect of it. So it's OTT, if you even know what that means. It's geofencing. It's all those. It's that digital marketing component. So in essence, I would be the IDS, Integrated Digital Specialist 3, which means I would learn all that and then kind of like assist the manager, so the digital manager with that. And so as I think we did 3 months of having a conversation about that. And because I have a big loyalty thing where I say, if I'm going to be somewhere, I have to give it at least 3 years before I jump ship, right? Because I was at State Farm Insurance. I didn't share this with you previously, but I was with them for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did that for 10 years. And then I couldn't land what I wanted. So the IT position landed, and it kind of went hand in hand with like my background, my experience. I took it, came out, started doing the chamber and the DBA, actually, the Downtown Business Association.
Okay,
So those were 2 memberships that organization had. And I'm like, okay, if they're paying for it, I might as well start using it. So I did. And I will tell you, because of those 2 memberships, I am where I'm at today. One, those individuals saw my skill sets and sharpened those tools up for me. And kind of going back to, I guess, that piece of me going to KGET, I ended up taking up the opportunity. I had conversations with my husband. I said, hey, what do you think? I feel like it's too soon. And he's like, yes, go ahead and do it. You're going to learn something new. Might as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to pay you more. It's a promotion, right? So take it. So I took it. And I took it December of 2019. So you know what happened 3 months later, right?
All the craziness.
COVID. So then things started changing at that point. So I ended up taking KGET, learned it. I will give a shout out to the digital marketing manager there. She took me under her wing. She saw my potential and started really educating me on different things. So she taught me what tactics versus it'll come to me here in a second, but she taught me like strategies on the marketing side. And because she's very well-rounded in her creativity, I have a lot of creativity, but just the way she articulates it is like second to none. So she's amazing.
Okay.
If you guys ever have an opportunity to talk to her, I'll give her a shout out. Her name is Lindsay Barnes. She's with KGT Channel 17. She's now in a different role. So she's kind of overseeing more of the TV sales now.
Okay.
In layman's terms. So she did a great job. She taught me a lot of things. She took me under her wing, and it went very well. However, when COVID came, everybody had to start working from home, and it just became very crazy.
Drastic.
A lot of people started pulling back on their marketing. So what happens when you don't buy digital marketing anymore? So now you have a clientele base that's scaling back. What happens to Cepi, right? Mm-hmm. So they gave me two options. They said, hey, you have an option of becoming an assistant, which is kind of like a step back from my current role, or you become an accounts executive, which is a sales position, but for the TV side. Now, do I know TV? Absolutely not. It's a beast, okay? I don't. So when it comes to media sales and placing ads and advertisement, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, it's just an advertisement. Like, no, there's a lot that goes behind
different
the scenes.
concept, yeah.
There's so many things that go behind the scenes. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, I don't see myself as a salesperson. I never saw myself as a salesperson. And so I talked to my husband, and he's all like, well, I mean, they see the potential in you, so give it a shot. In 6 months, if it doesn't work out, you gave it a shot.
Try something else. Mm-hmm.
So I stepped into the account executive role. And so needless to say, I felt like I did a pretty good job for the most part, but then tragedy hits at home. My husband goes through a spinal cord injury,
Oh, shit.
unfortunately. And so this is now speaking 2020. I'm doing all this. Come 2021, January is when I get that opportunity to either go here or do this. I chose it. 3 months into that, my husband has this tragedy, and now I have to take care of my husband. That's a logical thing to do, right? And that's the right thing to do, and have to take care of home. So I'm with him for 3 months, and then he decides he's going to go back to school. But simultaneously, I have a 5-year-old going into kinder, and where we live and everybody else, because of COVID, I couldn't get her into daycare. So it's kind of like all odds were against us at that time. That's how it felt.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're being tested.
I was so being tested. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to stay home. My husband's like, look, we can afford, I'll go back to work. You stay home with the baby. And then by the time she gets into first grade, then you can start going back into the workforce. I'm like, all right, I guess we got this, right? So side note, I always said, when I'm 38, I want to be a trophy wife. I'll take a step back from all this work, and I'll be a trophy wife. So during that time, I became a trophy wife. I was tending to home, my daughter, and at that point, just really household stuff. But as I take you back to my story, working since I was 14, do you really think I can be a stay-at-home wife?
I was gonna tell you how'd that transition go, like not just mentally but emotionally, because like now you're like, man, I'm used to the hustle bustle. Like now I gotta just stay home, and then like, do you really felt like you were doing something, even though it's a lot of work? Just stay at home, stay-at-home wife, yeah. But how did that transition go, and how did you feel?
I had a great time.
There you go.
I make everything a great time.
Oh, that's perfect.
I mean, kind of like a side note here, but we bought these hoverboards for our kids for Christmas one year, and I learned how to do that.
Having a lot of fun. There you go.
I would take my daughter instead of driving her.
Yeah.
She would walk, and I would ride the hoverboard. I'd take her to school.
There you go.
I made it a good time. Okay,
The cool mom.
It was a fun, cool moment. Yeah, and so it was fun, but it's always ingrained in me to like work and make my own money. And I'm a person that likes to give gifts. So I'm like, I can't give gifts and go to parties and not have the extra income to buy the things I want to buy. Right. So remember, I'm 38 now. I'm with my daughter, taking her to school. She's 5. And then I get a call my girlfriend, she actually's like, hey, Cepi, I tagged you on a post. And I'm like, what post? Now, this girlfriend works at KGT. She comes from KGT. She's like, I know you're not working right now, but this position right here would be a good fit for you. And I'm like, really? I just told you I'm a trophy wife. Like, and she's like, come on, Cepi. She's like, and guess what? If you do 90 days, like, so the 3 months, they're giving a referral $1,000, right? And I'm like, you just want the $1,000? She's like, well, yeah, that too. But honestly, like, I feel like you would be the good fit for this role. So it was another IT company here in town, and it was their event specialist or events coordinator or something like that, right? By the way, I love events. I can plan an event in my sleep, given like I don't have a heavy workload, right?
Right.
I can do it like without hesitation. It's what I love to do. And so that's why she felt I would be really good at it. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna turn 40 here soon, and I want to plan a good 40th because it's a big milestone for me. So I'll give it a shot. If they hire me, cool. If they don't, it's all right,
Yeah.
right? Like whatever.
And when you do that, usually you get it.
I went through 2 interviews. And they're like, okay, we've decided that we want to hire you. And I was like, dang it. All right, I'll take it. But I negotiated my
Exactly what you
salary,
wanted.
What I wanted, because
Yeah.
then it's like, if I'm going to come out and get paid,
You got to be worth it.
It might as well be worth my time. Well, I will tell you, now that you know I've worked since I was 14, I've had my main longevity positions. I've always had side hustles, and I've never been fired. And guess what happens? They fire me.
Wow.
I get fired from this position. So I was only there for 5 hot months.
So your friend got the $1,000.
My friend got $1,000. She made the cut. And then I ended up getting let go, right? And so they decided to take a different direction. And so I'm like, well, I guess it's a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah.
So then guess what happens? My old boss from KGT, the main boss, calls the VP of member engagement at the chamber and says, hey, Cepi's available. Call her. She would be a great business development manager for the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. And I'm like, so when I hear the story, right, she calls me in April. So I get let go in March, okay? October through March, yes. By April 7th, I get a text. Hey, Cepi, what are you doing? I'd like to have lunch with you. By this time, I've already during the chamber, I've gained a nomination of Volunteer of the Year. And then I ended up transitioning into the chair for the ambassadors for the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. So I did that for 2 years. And simultaneously, my boss during that time was KGT. He also was the chair, but for the actual chamber, the organization. So there's the chair for the committee and then the chair for the organization, right? So we were both chairing, but it happened to be during COVID. Okay. So she's like, hey, Cepi, I have your award, your recognition for being our chair for the Greater Bakersfield Chamber Ambassadors. And she's like, I'd like to meet you for lunch. And I'm like, it just kind of sounded kind of like...
Yeah, there's a little bit more than that.
Right? So we sit down, we have lunch, and she's like, hey, by the way, Cepi, we still haven't filled the role for the BDM. It's been vacant for like 7 months, I think, at the time. Don't quote me on it, but it was around 7 months or so. And she's like, hey, Cepi, we felt like you would be, actually, she name dropped the boss from KGT, and she's like, he actually called me and said that you were available. And I was like, well, yeah, I think Cepi would be great for this, because kind of going back to the Greater Bakersfield Chamber, when I was there just as a member, I would basically recruit people or let them know how great the chamber was, right? And I was already bringing business to the chamber without getting paid, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I naturally am, I guess. If I really love somebody, you can hear the passion behind it.
Oh, yeah.
So people would come and join the chamber, and I would refer people, and then they would join the chamber. So she's like, you're already doing the job. You're just not getting paid for it, right? You just have to learn like our back-end platforms and this and this and that. Would you be interested? And I'm like, mind you, I just got let go from this other job. I'm like 2 weeks out from that job, and I'm like, I guess. You know, like, I'll give it a shot.
Let's give it a go.
Let's
Yeah.
give it a go. I said, well, what's the salary? And she's like, I don't know. I think it's changed. You know, maybe you can talk to our president, CEO, and make that negotiation. Submit your resume, though. Okay, Cepi? And I'm like, all right. Submit my resume. He calls me in. We do a verbal, like a face-to-face interview. And I'm like, well, if I, you know, here's what I would like. You know, we negotiated. He met my negotiations. He met it. And I was like, all right, here we go. We're going to start working for the chamber. So 2022 is when I joined the chamber. May 16th, I'll never forget. Joined the chamber as an actual staff. And so you kind of now see my history. It's like tragedy hit. I started a position, got let go. And then I was recruited or scouted, I would say, to come back to the chamber because I've already had a love for the chamber, right? Downtown business. And here I am now as a staff member. Mind you, I will tell you, kind of going back a little bit, is I do have a lot of skill sets when it comes to my work ethic, when it comes to public speaking, when it comes to getting out of my comfort. Like, I wasn't one person to come out and say, like, hi, my name is Cepi. This is what I do. I didn't have that confidence. The chamber brought it out in me. So it really sharpened up those skills for me. And more so when I stepped into the chamber, obviously it's calling people to bring them in to be a part of the chamber. So that's really an education piece. I didn't see myself as a salesperson. It's more like I'm educating them and like, hey, I saw your business opened up. Would you like to come and be a part of the chamber? This is blah, 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 everything we do, right? And I did pretty well. I feel like I did actually very well. It's something that comes very natural to me. But then there came an opportunity where they're like, hey, Cepi, I really want you to go. I can't do the speaking at the ribbon cutting. I'm going to need you to take the lead. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not made for that. No, well, I'm going to be busy. This person's going to be busy. You're the only person really cut out because you're the ones meeting with the members and you take care of it. You'll do great, Cepi. You do great. You know, I'm like, no, you know, like, no, I don't want to do this. But all that to say that when I stepped into the chamber and on staff, they really even developed me even more. Right, because they saw that in me. They saw something that I didn't. Mm-hmm. And so that practice started. So it became like, oh my God, Cepi, I see you everywhere. I started doing ribbon cuttings because I had to step into that position, starting putting the mixers together because, again, I'm great at events. So I'm like, I'll take the lead on this. I'll do that. Well, then things started shifting around at the chamber, and I was talking to an accountability coach, and I was expressing like kind of my concerns, right? Like, oh my God, if this happens, my husband has now gone through this, and like, let's just be real. If something would have happened to my husband is like walking by miracle right now, okay? So he technically, medically should be in a wheelchair, but he's walking. Yeah. So if something was to happen to your husband, and let's just say you're no longer in this position, they cut your position, what do you have to back up your family? Like, oh, crap. Like, that's a reality, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? You have all this knowledge, all this history, but if your employer cuts you, what do you have to support your family? Like, what do you have under your belt? And I'm like,
nothing.
Like, I don't have nothing that's mine to say, like, I can develop and grow it, right?
Yeah.
She's and I've had not only her, but I've had other people tell me, like, Cepi, why don't you start your own thing? And I'm like, no, there's already plenty. Like, I can just push people to go here, go there. If they want to do this, I know where to take them, right? Or to guide them. I don't want to do it, right? I don't feel like I have that bandwidth. And so she's like, okay, what if I sit down with you and we like carve something out? And it's something that you have for your family. If something was to happen to your employer, or let's just say you're not with them, but you move to a different organization and they cut you, what do you have that's yours for you and your family? Like, that's a hard truth, right?
Yeah.
Like, somebody that sees you and your potential and they're not using it to their full capacity, that's a really good friend, right? Yeah. That's a good person that sees your value and is like, okay, you need to do something. Mm-hmm. Because you have a lot of people that see to you for different things. Like, use that, right?
Right.
So that's how PowerHub came about.
Nice.
We sat down for 3 hours. We jotted it down on a notepad. And then here it is. Cepi, you've got this. You can do it. Get it going. So what is PowerHub, right? I was like, I don't want to do something that's going to take away from other organizations, because it's just duplicating another organization, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm great at putting events. I'm great at doing mixers. Like, that's an event, right? Networking. I've become really good at it thanks to the chamber, and stepping into the DBA. Like, I learned a lot out in the community. I see how people are very collaborative here. What can I do that's different? Well, as I was out there as a business development manager, I would meet a lot of people that would either take their careers, they go do their careers, then they're like, I don't want to do this industry anymore. I want to go somewhere else because I'm like tapped out, or I can't make any more money here. What I don't know what to do. So there was people that reached their like plateau and they just wanted to do something more or something different or started their business. So kind of going back, and I'm going to take you back a little bit, is there was a year in 2022, exactly simultaneously, Norma Dunn from the Kern Women's Business Center. I saw her at one of the Greater Bakersfield Chamber mixers. The end of the year, it all kind of goes back to the chamber, right? She's like, hey, Cepi, I would really like for you to come and be one of my business consultants. And I'm like, a business consultant? What would I do for you? Like, not understanding what I would do for you. And she's like, well, I feel like you would be great at XYZ, right? And she's telling me all the things, and you help a lot of businesses and you do this. And, I'm a natural connector. If you tell me what you really, really want, I will connect the dots for you. In my brain, it does this thing where I'm going to like do this for you. And it like naturally dials you in, right? Mm-hmm. And okay, now if you do this event and you do that and you do this, there's like, I can give you the creativity piece, but it's up to you to execute it, right? Like, so my brain naturally does that. So she saw that in me, and she said, Cepi, I would really, and you're great at marketing, and you're great at your engagement, you know what I mean? Community engagement. You're great at doing one-on-ones with people. So I ended up also signing up to become a business consultant in the Kern Women's Business Center. So I'm in my third year now. And simultaneously, while I was working at the chamber, and I made sure that wasn't going to be a problem with the chamber. He was fine at the time, the president, CEO. And then, so again, it goes back to my grind, right? Now I have two things on my plate. There was a time when I was going to school. Let me take you back a little bit. I was working 6 jobs.
Holy moly.
During this time, I was stepping into becoming a single mother of 2 boys.
Wow.
6 jobs.
And I commuted to North Hollywood an hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
So when I tell people, and this is why I tell people,
no excuses.
There's no excuses.
Yeah.
Like, if I can do it, and if you really want to do it, you're going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So now pivoting you back forward to the Greater Bakersfield Chamber, now being a business consultant through the Kern Women's Business Center, that's been under my belt. And then now simultaneously, like, you know, the tragedy that happened, the decisions I have to make, and like just the reality that had to hit, right? So now that I've mentioned this, we've talked about PowerHub and how we've now wrote down like, oh, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to be able to help people that are in the transition phase, right? So if you've been an accountant, I'm going to use you as an example, Rudy. You were an accountant, things happened in your life, and then you decided you're going to be a personal fitness coach, right? Mm-hmm. But you're very specific as to what you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah.
So then you decide you no longer want to do accounting because that's not really what you want to do. So now you've decided to make a change. You have a passion for something that helped you, and you develop into a business, right?
Yeah.
So in essence, that's what PowerHub is, right? We're bridging the gap between the startups and the organizations that have been established for a long time. So people that have been in business 3+ years, moving on, because that's the need I heard out in the community. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay.
Interesting.
And the reason I brought back in the Kern Women's Business Center is because if you know what the Kern Women's Business Center does is they're helping startups or people that are in the inception phase of their business. they have a passion, they want to do something, where do they go? They go to the Kern Women's Business Center, and they have a ton of free resources. You can go there, and just because it says woman doesn't mean that you can't go and get the help that you need. So if, let's just say you wanted to start another business, right? And you say, I have this business idea, but I just don't know how to get it off the ground. That's who you're going to go to. Okay. And then you have organizations such as the Chambers, you have Rotaries, you have DBA, you have Bagel Babes in Business, you have so many other organizations that can fill a need of your business, depending on what it is that you're going to do.
Right.
Right. What is PowerHub going to do? PowerHub is going to give you the education and resources from industry experts, not me. It's not me because I don't know everything about business. Right. And they're going to give you those knowledge and insights that's going to help you develop your mindset to think, to grow and scale your business, right? Because you have a passion. You don't know where to start it. You get it going. You reach year 3 and you're like, okay, what am I going to do now? What do I do? That's where PowerHub comes in. I'm that bridge. I'm bridging the gap between the startups and the organizations that have been established. Doing it for years. Now here's the twist. We were doing first year of PowerHub. So we kicked off PowerHub. What are we going to do? We're going to bring accountability. We're going to give you industry knowledge to keep you accountable and obviously sharpen up your skills and continue like growing and scaling, depending on what it is that you wanted to do. It was for businesses that have been in business 3+ years and C-suite professionals. What's a C-suite professional? Do you guys know? If I tell you what's a C-suite professional, C-level, CEO, CFO, CMO, CTO. It's those leaders that are basically overseeing like a department division, right? They're basically making those decisions, right? How did they get there? All that wealth of knowledge. So that's why we were bringing in PowerHub to bring in those business owners and those C-suite professionals, because when you're a business owner, at some point when you start growing and scaling your business, you're going to start hiring those C-suite professionals, right? You're going to develop these employees, whether they start from the ground up or you get people that have that knowledge that bring it to your business to grow and scale it.
Yeah.
So that's why we were marrying the two the first year at PowerHub Bakersfield. So PowerHub Bakersfield came about because it is a hub where you bring these business owners and these C-suite level professionals, you bring them together and you give them that education. It's that business education.
Love it.
And so we're in its first year. Like I told you, I've been in the workforce since I was 14. I had to do and sell things on my own so that I can pay for my own things. So I've always had a heart for entrepreneurs, and I've actually previously tried starting my own businesses, but because of whatever direction life took me, I ended up getting pregnant. I had to go to a regular job and get the benefits, in your brain, society teaches you those things. So you just kind of naturally go to what's comfortable.
What you're programmed to do.
Right. And so now kind of bringing you back to PowerHub, we're like, okay, it's going to be the hub, right? The Power Hub. Why powering? You want to power those brain cells. You want to power yourself up. You want to give that power behind whatever passion it is that you have. And it's a hub. And then Bakersfield, because the obvious, we're in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Right? So I actually, we put it all on paper, and then I started surveying some of my leaders in the community, like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? I asked my director at the Kern Women's Business, she's like, Cepi, yes, I'll support you. She's like, we're going to grow this thing big. Like, I will support you, because another thing that the Kern Women's Business Center does is they like to serve, and they primarily serve the underserved communities, right? A lot of the Latino communities, a lot of the other underserved communities that don't get that support, or they're like not given this knowledge. So they give them free resources. Like, who doesn't want that?
Right.
Take advantage of it. I tell people, take advantage of Kern Women's Business Center. It is free. Now, it's going to take somebody that really wants to do it to get it done, right? And when they hear free, they're going to be like, oh, absolutely, I'll do it for free. Now, with PowerHub, when we created it, she said, I asked Norma, I said, hey, Norma, what if you take PowerHub, like add this division of business into Kern Women's Business Center? And she says, I can't, Cepi, because what you're doing, I can't do through the Kern Women's Business Center because of the grants that they sign up for. And let me just point it blank to you, like I can tell people through my organization, like get your shit together, whereas through the Kern Women's Business Center, they can't do that. You go to the chamber, they can't tell you to get your shit together, right?
Yeah.
No, so you, Cepi, you can create this organization where you can tell people like, hey, I need you to step up your game, right? Like I can't be hand-holding you.
Right.
Like you're already at this point in business, you either sharpen up or what really happens in business. From the 3 to 5 year span,
Close.
you either close, you stay stagnant, or that's it, right? So that's what the whole purpose between PowerHub is that I can tell people to get their shit together. I can keep people accountable, right?
Right.
So it's getting those right people there that want to sharpen up their skills to say like, okay, yeah, Cepi's going to keep me on my toes, right? Or if Cepi assigns me, or if I start working with this industry expert, like they're going to keep me on my toes, right? Everybody's going to do it slightly different, right? Like, I'm not always going to cuss at you because if you ask anybody at PowerHub, I don't speak profanity, but that's the reality of it is that PowerHub Bakersfield is a hub where you come, and if you want to sharpen up your skills, I'm bringing in those industry experts every single month, starting February through November, educating you and giving you that business knowledge that you would in essence get anywhere else.
Right.
So I'm different from other organizations. I always tell people, go to these other organizations if this is what you're catering to, right? Every business is different, right? What I do isn't going to cater to, it can cater to everybody, but they have to be in this part of their business, right? Or if they're working for an organization that's 10 plus years in business and they want to develop those individuals into leaders, send them to PowerHub, right? So that's why it's 3+ years in business. And I've selectively, depending on who's come into PowerHub, I've said, you know what? Yes, they should be in PowerHub because they've ran other organizations like their own, or they've had the experience of owning a business in the past, and now they're owning their business again. And maybe they're in their first or year and a half or 2 years. They're welcome to come in, but they have to be ready for that, right? They're going to be around these other
have that mindset,
right? Because if you bring in somebody that's barely thinking about
no
business,
experience,
never been in exposed to like business
too much,
it might overwhelm them and turn them away. So we don't want that, right? So I'm glad that I'm vocalizing that here today with you guys is we want, and I've been selective about bringing people in 3+ years in business because that's where they have to be in their mind thought process and like, what, you know what, I've been doing this for the past year. It's not working. What can I do different? It's bringing you in that hub where there's going to be other like-minded people that want to grow and scale their business that can in essence have an answer for you. I can have the answer for you, or the industry expert have an answer for you. And it's that intimate setting. So that's what really PowerHub is in a nutshell, is master your mind, leveling up your greatness. That's really our tagline, or like our mission is to master your mind, level up your greatness.
Love it.
And so the accountability piece is you share with us what your pain points are, and then we want to make sure we get those addressed either during the session or between me and you one-on-one. But there has to be that follow-up as well, right? I will tell you that while I was starting PowerHub, this is what takes me into Key Staffing, the staffing agency that I started working for. I was not planning on ever going into staffing. That was not even in my radar. But because I asked the owner of Key Staffing to be my industry expert, she had a vacancy that we started talking about. And so we had a conversation. It organically happened. And I ended up stepping into staffing. That's how I ended up stepping into staffing. So I started a new industry last year, February 12th to be exact. PowerHub launched in January
of what year?
2024.
2024.
And I ended up signing up during that time. Back in August of 2023, I had signed up for Leadership Bakersfield for the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. Remember, I was still an employee there. So I ended up getting it. And it's an extensive process, and I highly recommend it for anybody that wants to get that experience. Sign up for Greater Bakersfield Chambers Leadership Bakersfield class. They have a class every year. So I started that in 2024 because it kicks off the next year. So I started a new business. I started a new leadership. I started a new industry that I don't have knowledge and insights on. I kind of have like an idea about it, but wasn't in it. And then I have a 1-year-old. So going back to saying that I'm a mother and a wife, my last child was born April of 2023. So if all that doesn't tell you that I've been busy, I don't know what tells you that I've been busy.
How do you balance all that?
Time management.
There you go.
Sometimes I'm running around like a crazy woman, but you know what? I get it done.
Make it happen, yeah.
Yes.
No excuses.
But I've never been, and this is one thing that I like to tell people is, if I can do it, you can do it.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be mistakes that happen along the way, but if you learn
Life
how
ain't
to
perfect.
address it, it's going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. Figure it out.
Nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Oh,
and there's going to be hard times, so pick your hard, right?
Yeah.
And so another thing that we talk about in PowerHub is, and I try to preach this to everybody, is create opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait for them to happen.
Yep.
Nobody's going to come to me and taking you back to my situation with my husband. Let's say my husband would have passed. Nobody would have said, hey, Cepi, because you have this great personality and smile, I'm going to pay you a monthly payment to take care of your bills.
It don't happen like that.
It doesn't happen like that.
You go and make it happen.
You have
no
to
matter
make
what,
it.
no excuses.
No excuses.
Yep.
So now that we've been in PowerHub for the first year, I will tell you that the reason I did end up taking key staffing is because she said, Cepi, we've been trying to implement something like what you're doing with PowerHub with staffing in our clients. We just haven't been able to find that right piece, right? And so I feel like you're that piece, Cepi. Like you can do that, and you have more. You can run PowerHub simultaneously as you work here for us full time. So who wouldn't want to do that, right? Like,
That's a good opportunity.
Say yes to that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I am an overachiever.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of did that. I kind of did a disservice to myself by spreading myself out too thin this last year. So I'm feeling it now this year. And it's kind of like, okay, let's reevaluate. It's all about reevaluating your priorities, right? Like,
exactly.
What is going to be important? So I was able to accomplish Leadership Bakersfield, and I will tell you, and I have to give myself and my team a huge shout out. Leadership Bakersfield class of 2024, Team 4. Again, kind of going back to, I have a lot of knowledge and background. I've been plugged into the community. And now I'm in a new team that I had no idea who they were. We've become great friends. Some of them have become my clients. And we were actually, during last year, we were able to finish our project first in the shorter amount of time. So we kicked off in January. We were celebrating our ribbon cutting in September.
Oh, nice.
So that came quick. But to say the least, to find the time to do that, to start a new industry, to start a new business per se, right? Mm-hmm. And have a 1-year-old, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
That's crazy.
Yeah. See, you didn't even know this. So when I kind of going back to PowerHub, the reason why I shared all these insights with you guys is so that people understand that there is so much behind the scenes that people don't see.
Oh, yeah.
I am so good at social media, and thanks to, I will give her a shout out. Her name is Shannon Lackey. When I stepped into the IT company going back in 2018, remember guys when I mentioned this? She actually, I saw her at the Bakersfield Women's Business Conference, and she had already been in her business since 2017 doing marketing. She does marketing for, her niche was mortgage and real estate.
Oh, okay.
So she catered to that ideal audience. And she's like, hey, Cepi, I would love to have you on my team. I'm like, nah, I'm going to give this a shot. And I said, but let me hire you so you can teach me how to do marketing, because I don't know how to do that.
Right.
I don't know all the crazy stuff like they talk about. And so she's like, okay, all you have to do is this, And so I literally hired her through that IT company. I sat with her, I think it was no more than 2 hours. And I will tell you, she was very inexpensive. I mean, now that I see how everything, like what everything costs, everything that goes behind marketing, she gave me a phenomenal deal. All those tools she gave me back then has been the reason why I've been able to do everything that I do on social media. She taught me all those like foundational, fundamental marketing techniques that I needed to do. And I was like hesitant because I'm like, oh my God, now I got to go out there and I got to do this and I got to do that. And I didn't know the 80-20 rule on creating content, the copy on behind it. And I started like, she taught me those. And then I've slowly developed and added my own, what would you call it? Like your own
sauce.
Yeah, my own sauce. She did want me to do videos, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing videos. There's no freaking way in the world I'm talking to.
Now you're doing videos.
No, I don't do videos as much. I hate video. I don't like videos. I'll be honest with you. I don't like to be recorded. I don't like none of that. I don't like hearing my voice. It's a thing, it's a complex a lot of people like struggle with. And I don't even like public speaking, but that's what I do because the chamber taught me all this. They're like, Cepi, no, we need your help. And I'm like,
you're good at it.
So kind of going back to that, the reason why PowerHub exists is because of everything that I mentioned previously and the fact that I have a great support group of amazing people in this community that believe in me. The other piece was I brought it to the attention of an accountant. Well, let's call her, I call her an accountant. It's Alice Financial Solutions. Amanda.
Okay, yeah.
I took it to her when I was surveying people and I said, hey, Amanda, what do you think about this? Because she's out in the community. She was out in the community too and doing all the things that kind of I was doing too. She was a president of NABO and spearheaded other different organizations. And I said, what are your thoughts on this? She's like, oh my God, Cepi, that is a great idea. She's like, have you thought about turning it into a nonprofit? And I was like, nope. I do not want to turn it into a nonprofit because you have to have a board. You have to have it's different personalities. It's like asking for permission to do what I want to do, right? And I'm like, I just want to do my own business. She's like, well, you technically don't need to have a huge board. That's at your discretion. There are guidelines you have to meet, right? And she walked me through those guidelines. I'm like, oh, well, then let's do it, I'm about that. I'll take a risk, right? And then I'll learn along the way if I need to. But I have the right resources that I can always tap into. And I love to say that because of the relationships I've established from 2018 up until recently, I have those resources accessible to me. I've built some great relationships, a ton of relationships that I can imagine. I do tell people jokingly, like, if I was to die and you guys better like, ¿cómo se dice? Raffle off or like when you bid. You guys better auction off my phone because this has a lot of contacts that a lot of people are always like, hey, Cepi, hey, can you connect me with so-and-so? And so I jokingly say that because I've built a lot of great relationships. And I can tell you that I can call certain people right now and they'll so follow through for me. Like if I need... I'm not gonna go far. Key Staffing just celebrated their 5-year anniversary November. We celebrated it on November 14th, but our anniversary date is November 7th for 5 years in business. And I will tell you, in 2 days, I was able to get giveaways to raffle off during that event.
Oh, dang.
You know what I mean?
Fast.
That was like this. And we weren't going to do that. But I was like, okay, well, why don't we just throw in some giveaways? Because that entices people, right? Like, let's go get some giveaways. And we had some great gifts, like Crumble came through, Dry Bar came through. Who else came through? Fall Ghetto Roads, which is now Trucordia, came through. New Frontier Consulting came through. I had like several gifts that came. I was like, hey, we're going to be doing this ribbon cutting. And by the way, the Greater Bakersfield Chamber spearheaded it. Let's do some giveaways. We're going to do some giveaways. Do you mind giving something? And they're like, absolutely, Cepi, what do you need? And I'm like, well, I just need this if you want to bring it the day of, if you're going to be there, or I can come pick it up. And people come through for me all the time. And so needless to say, because of that, PowerHub exists. Because people believe in what I bring together. And I love bringing people together. I love bringing community together. I always tell people community over competition. I don't compete with anybody. I'm in staffing industry. You know how many staffing people I knew? When I stepped into staffing, they were like, Cepi, why didn't you tell us you were going to go into staffing? I said, because I wasn't going to go into staffing. It was just all happened organically. Like, I promise you, like, my boss, when I was in lending, he's a staffing owner. I could have gone to him if I really wanted to go to staffing, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't. It just happened organically. And, you know, I see just like how people see my values and my capabilities, my strong skill sets. I like to, when I meet somebody, I see it in them and I want to bring it out in them. And that's what I love to do. I tell people, if I can do this for free, PowerHub for free, I would totally do it for free.
Right.
Right. But at the end of the day, going back to what happens when my employers, let's say they shut down or they have to scale back or I no longer fit in their plan. Right. Mm-hmm. What do I have to offer my family?
Right.
So I also have to keep that in mind all the time. Because I love to give you, if you sit down with me, like I don't even know everything that you do, but if you and I were to sit down and have a full-on conversation, even in the first 15 minutes of our conversation, I can give you a strategy on what to do to get where you want to go. Because it's just me understanding what your needs are. And that's what I want to be able to do moving forward is I don't want to hide my knowledge. I want to be able to give it.
Right.
Right. But sometimes
create value in other people.
Yeah. But you have to, and I've been told by my leaders, like Anna Marie Frank, Norma Dunn, they're like, and my accountability coach, and I'm going to give her a shout out right now, is she's Lorraine Badia. She's with Trucordia, but she also runs her own business. She does kind of like what you do on the side, the photo booth.
Oh, okay, nice.
Good Vibes photo booth. She's like the one that's like, no, Cepi, you got this. Like, this is something that you can do, so get it done. Let me go back a little bit. What was I saying before I mentioned that she does? I was giving her a shout out for being my accountability coach. They all told me people need to put some skin behind what they want to do. They got to put some skin behind the game, 100%, right?
Yeah.
If you give things for free, does it add value?
It doesn't add value.
It doesn't add value.
So when they get it for free, even though it's more valuable, they see it as there's no value there. So you have to invest yourself. You got to invest in yourself.
Exactly.
To give it that value.
And if you want to scale up your business, and trust me, when I tell you that I bring valuable leaders or people that have the knowledge to PowerHub, if you look at the lineup from last year and then you look up the lineup from this year, you'll see all those individuals bring amazing value to any business. Because I always tell people, you have a passion, like you, passion to paycheck,
Passion
right?
to paycheck.
You're turning that passion into a paycheck, but then how do you continue that knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. If I go to school to become a lawyer, I continuously have to learn all the laws.
Yeah, how do you scale it?
Like, right, you're going to have to continuously learn.
Yeah, because as you scale yourself, like how are you gonna get to the next level if you've never been there? So you need that knowledge to keep on growing. Yeah, 100%.
And then it's not just, and I tell people, when you're coming to PowerHub, you're going to listen from people from different industries. Bottom line, business is business, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at business from like high level business, you need an accountant, you need a payroll, you need a HR, you need a marketing, right? Different levels of marketing. Marketing, we can talk about marketing on a whole different topic because I tell people there's different levels of marketing. There's multiple streams of income. There's multiple streams of marketing, right? Mm-hmm. This is a form of it, what we're doing today, right? So there's just different pieces of business that because you have a passion doesn't mean you're going to be great at all of them. Because I have a passion for this doesn't mean why do you think I have industry experts, right? Mm-hmm. I bring industry experts to the table to bring you that knowledge.
Right.
And guess why I bring those industry experts to the table? Because I've built that relationship with them, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the one that's picky, like sitting down with them and understanding like where they come from. And then I'm bringing them to the table. And guess what I'm doing as well? I'm not only giving my audience or my members and our guests that knowledge, but it's also exposing them to this audience as well. So it's simultaneously feeding
connecting
both.
Everybody. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So that's what PowerHub is. It's bridging the gap between the startups and those that have been in business in a long time, bringing in those business owners with those C-suite professionals, and even those individuals that are not C-suite professionals per se, but they're developing them to become a leader in their organization, bring them to PowerHub.
Right.
So that's why this year we've opened it up to our membership to add, I don't know if you saw the membership package, but the standard is like sole proprietor, veteran, or a nonprofit. Has to be a single person. The second tier is premium, and I put it 2+ employees. So let's just say you have your business, right? And do you have any employees in your business?
Yes.
How many?
7.
Okay. Let's say you wanted to be a part of PowerHub. You can sign up for the premium, and it gives you whatever those perks are to become a premium. But if you're want to get the elite perks, you can still sign up with those 7 employees that you have and pay for the elite membership. And it opens up to those other benefits that you get as an elite member. So I've really thought it out through, because if I last year I was doing, if you're a standard member, but you want to bring, let's say you have an employee or you have a partner, a business partner, and you want to bring them to PowerHub, then you would pay an additional fee for them. Right. But I wanted to make it cost effective, yet for you as the member to see it as a investment. I wanted you to see it as a good investment. Right. You're not gonna come and pay I've had a lot of other coaches tell me, Cepi, what you're doing, people pay a lot more money for in other places. And I said, I get it, but we're not in those other places. And that value will come as time progresses.
As you grow.
Yes, because I want to scale this at a very slow pace, because I'm a one-man band.
Yeah, you got your business planned out how you want it. You know what you want.
And I tell people,
and that's perfect.
This is not a popularity thing. By all means, if you feel like this is to be popular, this is not your place.
Right.
We want serious people that want to learn. The goal is for you to see it, hear it, because you're hearing it from the industry expert. You're writing it and applying it.
Right.
Now I throw in the perks. So like last year, it's crazy how our story happened with Rudy, and I love how we met, because as you know, him and at Dr. Anna Marie Frank, they have a business relationship, right? And I've heard their story now. But she's like, hey, you need to sign up for PowerHub because you need to go. But I know Rudy is very busy.
Right.
And so that's where having him come into PowerHub also gets me in the background thinking, okay, how can I cater to Rudy's of the world, right? Because he's very limited on time too, right?
Right.
He's already his type of industry caters to, people that he needs to modify his schedule according to their schedule as well. So how can we get him out there, or how can we give him that business acumen without him presently being there? Right. So that's where I've been like kind of trying to figure out as well, because I've had other people ask me like, hey, well, why don't you do it virtually? Because now if he's in between his like appointments and he has an opportunity to listen in on PowerHub,
free up a little bit of his time.
Yeah. Why not get him in there virtually? Right. Because now he's getting that insights. He's listening in onto what that industry expert is covering, and then he can take notes and maybe ask questions later, right? Say like, hey, Cepi, like, this is what I heard today. Can you give me a little bit more insights, or what can I do to meet with XYZ person so that I can learn more, right? Because this is a perfect topic for my business. So I'm still, I'm stepping into year 2. I'm trying to figure out how to cover people's pain points, keep them accountable, and also give them that added value, right? And I did offer this as well. Remember, I mentioned it. I offered it to the Kern Women's Business Center and the reasons why she couldn't do it. I also offered it to the Greater Bakersfield Chamber before management was changed. And because we are such a very small team, the bandwidth wasn't there to add this additional programming to the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. Or else, think about it. It's a perfect like program to add to any other organization, right? But every other organization has already their set programming, and they already have like what they need to do to make their organization successful. And the bandwidth wasn't there. We were a team of 4. We couldn't cover another programming. We were barely trying to get through the other programmings that we had to offer through the Greater Bakersfield Chamber on a very small team. So imagine trying to add another.
Right.
And I'm the one that wears all the hats right now through PowerHub Bakersfield.
That's usually how it works.
That's how it works, right? And then you start like delegating,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So that's where I'm at with PowerHub. PowerHub.
And then, quick question: is it a nonprofit? Because you did mention that
It became
a nonprofit. Okay.
Yeah. So thanks to Atlas Financial Solutions, it became a nonprofit, and she's actually my treasurer. So Amanda, she was DiGiacomo before. She's Jones now, married last year. And my accountability coach, she's my VP at PowerHub Bakersfield, is Lorraine Badia. She goes by Lou. And so I have them too. And I just recently spoke to Dr. Anna Marie Frank.
Nice.
And she's just joined my board. So it's the four of us right now on the board. And I'm building a committee. So the committee is a visionary and engagement committee. That's who's going to be my eyes and ears, the visionaries behind what we want to do with PowerHub. And as they're out in the community speaking to their clients or other people, they can say, hey, if this is what you want for your business, you should start attending PowerHub on a monthly basis because this is what they provide. And so that's what I'm building. I'm trying to build a committee of 4. I need one more person. I'm still trying to see if my chair has completely said yes. She's an amazing woman. If you ever have an opportunity to meet her, she's a huge advocate for the community. Her name is Justina Howell. She currently works for Bakersfield Community Healthcare. But she does so many other things besides her regular duties. She's like out in the community, helping the veterans, the elderly, the senior healthcare. That's really what Bakersfield Community Healthcare is. They cater to the senior community, but she does so many amazing things. She's done other, like ADAKC. She's chaired that, I believe, and she gives her time. So she doesn't get paid for it, but she loves giving her time for that. So I've invited her to see if she would be able to chair this visionary and engagement committee through PowerHub to see where it goes from here, right? It's creating those small committees to help it scale and grow because I'm only one person. And the more people that are out there talking about it and having a good experience with it can definitely continue bringing in those individuals. So in essence, I guess I can say I'm trying to bring out other people's skills to PowerHub as well, and growing them just like I've been given the chance to do that in the past through my
I love that.
through my I guess my career path.
Right.
So no, I did not continue my higher education in the medical field. I'm not there, but guess what it did for me? It's allowed me to resonate with other people in the medical field. When I am speaking to other, when it comes to staffing, I'm able to have that relatable conversations with them,
right?
Because I've done the education. I did do externship, so like an externship. I did it for like 6 months, but I never got paid, right? So I was never like an actual employee, but I understand it. So all that knowledge from 14
all
years
those
old
industries.
That's a lot of knowledge.
Definitely helped me when I'm speaking to business.
I bet you can relate to them in a whole other level.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Very, very relatable.
Even if you didn't do that exactly job, but you done something that kind of relates to it, so you correlate with it in many other forms.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Love it.
I've been doing a lot. I mean, things have
You're
happened.
definitely a definition of no excuses.
No excuses. I've had
sure.
tragedies hit my home. Just different things happening. I put myself into certain situations where I've had to make hard decisions, but at the end of the day, it was like it had to get done. So I got it done.
What was one of the biggest hard decisions that you had to make during the last 14 years?
Well, I would say is like choosing my career path, right? It's like, what is it that I truly want to do? Because I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Right. I can see that. Yeah.
When I was in lending, I started shifting into digital. Mm-hmm. So scanning documents, because if you know have you all purchased a home, or do you know the process?
Yeah.
Purchasing a home?
Yeah.
It's a lot of paperwork.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like, how do I condense that? So I guess you can say solution based. I want to, if you have an issue or a situation, I like to see like, okay, what can we do to make this an easier, faster transition instead of like, look at all the paperwork you have to go through, like 200 pages of documents when you're going through loan doc signing.
Right.
How do you put all those papers into like a CD or a USB without having to have those papers on file? Because who wants to have all that paperwork?
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
But crazy, I ended up getting pregnant with my second son, and that's how I ended up at State Farm Insurance. So
for 10 years.
For 10 years. And I didn't do anything outside of that. Like I didn't do like my own business per se until I started stepping into my higher education when I was forced, when they told us, hey, guess what? In the future, we're going to be closing out this location. So we're going to be giving out severances based upon the tenure you've been here. So at that point, I'm like, well, dang, I got to put myself through school and get something else, you know? And I didn't take advantage of it, but they paid for our education there. So it's another thing. It's like you kind of get stagnant and you stay complacent in your position. You're like, I'll go to school next year. I'll go to school next year.
Next thing you know, all these years passed by.
All these years passed and you didn't do it. So now it's like you're forced. And I couldn't go to the other hubs because of my family style, my lifestyle. I'm a blended family. You know, I can't just say, oh, I'm going to get up and take off, you know. If you get up and take off, what happens to you? You'll get in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So I couldn't do that. But, yeah, that's kind of where my history is and why PowerHub came about. And all I really want to do is just help other people. Like, if I have the knowledge, why not pass it on? Or if I can get the right people in that place.
Where do I sign up? I'll take the elite.
I love it. And through that, this year we're doing quarterly mixers. So I'm calling them the Power Paloozas. So remember last year I did individuals by individual business. Now I want to put up to 4 members in one space and make it a big mixer. We want to highlight those 4 members during that mixer, provide them with small bites, a good ambiance, a place to professionally network, and start building those relationships as well. So I tell everybody, I'm in other organizations, by the way, too. I'm a member of the DBA. I'm a member of the Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and through Key Staffing north of the river, and who else? Oh my gosh, who else? Oh, BNI. I'm a part of all those organizations, all simultaneously while doing all these other things. So I tell people, do what's going to cater to your business need, right? Because as Key Staffing, I want to work with certain organizations to get business from them and bring business to Key Staffing. Through PowerHub, it caters to that audience as well, but I also cater to businesses like as yourself, right?
Yeah.
So kind of going back to those mixers, we're doing, we want to do 4 during the year, but depending on how this first one goes, we may sprinkle them in maybe every other month. Just depending on the need of the, depending on how many people sign up for it. So that's the goal, is I want to bring that added value. And why not? If I know how to put an event together and I'm doing all the legwork, because think about it, if you were to do an event yourself,
that's a lot.
I know my eyes. I don't have a poker face. I'm like, and you talk to people. It's a lot of work, right?
She helped me when we did my event for PowerHub.
Oh yeah.
I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But that's something I enjoy doing. So why not give that added value to my members, right?
Right.
This year I want to be a part of. I told people, because of what I'm doing through PowerHub, I want to be able to tap into different other organizations as well, and also hopefully at some point bring that collaborative piece, right, with other organizations. It's like, how do we bring what I do and what you do into the same space or in similar spaces, and
network and connect everybody,
and give people that value, right, that they're looking for, because everybody's needs are different. Now let me ask you, what is it that you do? What's your business?
Well, I got a couple different businesses, but this business is auto collision. I've been here for about 13 years now.
Okay. How was it when you first started?
rough because I started in it was around after the 2008, so it was rough, from the bottom. And before that, well, I had I was doing landscaping. So when Bakersfield was growing, all these houses being built. So I was designing all the front and backyards for all the new houses and stuff. I was making good money, and then next thing you know, it just done. Everybody, right? So everybody's like hurting. Whoever does have money, they want to hold it. They don't want to spend it. Kind of what I see a little bit happening right now with the economy. And I'm like, man, I gotta do something else that I gotta reinvent myself and do something that if this happens again, it's not gonna hurt me as much. And look at here we are. It's not, of course, it's not as bad as back then, but insurance paid for the car. We're gonna fix it, and
cars are always gonna be.
They're always gonna be on the road. They're always gonna be wrecked, especially in Bakersfield. That way people drive in Bakersfield. It rains, they drive faster.
No, but it's kind of like insurance is always gonna be helping, right?
Yeah.
If they pay for their insurance, right?
Right.
Or one party's gonna have insurance coverage.
Oh
right?
yeah.
But think about that, like just kind of like your last 13 years because of what happened.
Yeah.
You had
to change, reinvent myself,
and do something that you can, in essence, like grow and develop on your own, right? So, but think about everything that you have had to go through. Did you know that you need to have payroll and you got to follow California
No, it was the way.
laws
It was crazy.
It's
and the
insane.
permits and everything.
Workers' comp.
Oh
right?
yeah. And now we implementing. I'm gonna be selling insurance, which is anywhere from commercial car insurance to life medical insurance. So we're implementing that within this office right here. So I'm in the process of probably 2 more weeks, and we be for that. So I'm definitely signing up with you. So sign me up. I wasn't playing.
So, see, that's kind
Especially
of
because you have that background. You're in insurance for 10 years. So like, who better? That's not my thing. I mean, I deal with the insurance on a different side,
right,
with the collision, but it's totally different than when you're selling insurance. So I know a little bit, but the whole concept, like you were in the sales,
So I was actually on the IT side of the insurance, but I understand that side of it.
Even
But
better.
I have connection with a lot of other insurance companies, right?
That's what it's about, network.
Yeah, and I tell people, there is so much business.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. There's so much business just in Kern County.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't see myself as competition. I will never see myself. If anything, I'm like, I can't cover this. Can you cover it?
Yeah.
Like, if let's just say I was another insurance company. And now I know you're starting up and I'm like, hey, make sure that you're doing this, and that. Because if I can't cover, or let's just say I go away from insurance, I want to be able to say, hey, so-and-so is going to be able to take
recommend
care of you.
people.
They're going to be able to take care of you. No different than restaurants, right?
Right.
If restaurants don't collaborate, guess what? You think sometimes there's going to be people that reach out, 5 people may reach out, or even 2 people reach out to you on the same date, and you're not available. Who are you going to refer them to?
Right.
At the end of the day, that customer needs to be serviced,
Right.
right? So what the customer is going to feel better when I say, hey, Mr. Customer, I can't do it this day, and I'm so sorry. I would love to do it for you next year or your next time, but I'm booked that day. Let me call so-and-so,
Oh, yeah.
and they can take care of you. And I know they're going to take care of you if
Exactly.
I built that relationship with them. So that's the goal, and that's what I hope to instill in a lot of people is never see yourself as competition. See
No, never.
yourself
I've
as-
never seen competition.
See yourself as a collaborator, and you know what? Because at the end of the day, what you give out will always come back to you.
I always said that. What you give the world gives it back to you.
Right back to you. And sometimes in tenfold. And you don't know what to do with it. You know?
Oh, yeah. That's why a bunch of miracles happen to me. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I'm gifted.
yes.
A lot of people call me lucky.
But you
The harder I work.
But that's because you've been able to put it out there.
Yeah,
that way,
exactly.
right? You were never like, oh, I'm not going to share this. People
Yeah,
that
no,
hold
it-
on to their
yeah.
like stuff and don't want to share with
Share
other people.
knowledge. Like me, that's how me and Rudy met, at the gym. And then I started, I took a couple classes with him, and which I still do every week. And we would just talk and like, man, like, and share knowledge, to one another and do that. And then we're like, man, we need to do a podcast. Next thing you know, like, last year, like, man, it's the first. Like, you want to start the podcast? I said, man, let's start it, because if we don't start it, we're never gonna do it. And sure enough, we did the first of the year last year. We did our first podcast, and then like, Man, I don't know, man. Like, we're kind of scary talking on the camera. And like, man, just post it. Because if we don't, you want to perfect it, we're never going to post it. Let's just post it. Yeah, we're never going to do it. And like, here we are, the episode. What episode is it?
26,
26 already. So
26.
Yeah,
There you go.
This is barely our second year, the beginning of the second year. So we're going, and we're going to keep moving.
And you start fixing like the little things that you see improve.
Yeah, exactly.
You tweak them.
So they've gotten better and better and better and better as we've progressively gone. So
yeah, we love it.
You just have to start.
Yeah,
At the end of the day.
and here's the thing. I'm going to give a plug to my husband. I'm going to give him a shout out right now because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I had another business. I'm going to tell you guys right now. It's called Party Paparazzi. It's not the Party Paparazzi where they sell all the like all this stuff right here. I don't know. I can't think right now. It's Sunday. But it's a jewelry, right? Like they sell jewelry. It's like $5. And I didn't find that out till later. But Party Paparazzi is because I love camera. I love photography. I love raw photography. And I also, I love entertainment, right? So I can entertain when it comes to like doing games and like if you want to do the cha-cha slide, right? Like doing those things. So I'm like, how can I put that in business and incorporate my daughter? Because I'm a hardcore boy mom. Okay. I was raised with the boys. I played tackle football with the boys. I boxed with the boys.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm going with this? Hardcore.
That's why I have that mindset.
Right? And so, needless to say, I have a daughter now, and I'm like, how do I add that feminine component with her, like that girly girl? Because I'm not girly girl. I work at this, right?
Yeah.
And how do I do that? And so I'm like, let's do Party Paparazzi. And it's photography, raw photography. And then I'm like, well, she likes to add makeup and do all the princessy stuff. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? It's just, so I made a business where I add makeup on little girls when they're having their birthday parties. And
nice.
I entertain them. So we do like the cha-cha slide and this and that. But I wear a pink wig and a pink tutu. So if you've seen Anna Marie's pictures where there's a girl with a pink wig and a pink tutu.
That's you.
That was me. That's me. But I was doing it in essence for my daughter. So that I could have that time with her and then instill that. And that was my little business.
Love it. Yeah. Perfect.
Then I got pregnant with my son. So I put that on hiatus. And then PowerHub is when it came, right? Like the whole community business, like let's leverage my skills and whatnot. But when I brought that business to my husband, like he was always like, hey, I was like, hey, babe, what if I do this? And he's like,
do it.
Other businesses, he's like, he would always give me like like, what about this? And what about that? Did you think about this? He's the person that thinks about all the other things that I don't really think about sometimes.
Logical.
And then, so like the hard things, like,
right.
Well, what if people don't do this? Or what if that, And I'm like, well, then we just find an answer, like I'm a solution.
We'll figure it out.
But the moment I brought PowerHub to him, he's like, that's it. That's all you.
No questions
your
asked.
Name. Do it. So he's all like, he even did it to the point before I even went to key staffing. He's like, we'll make it work, babe. You focus on PowerHub and you don't worry about anything else. Just make sure you take, obviously, home and kids, me, and everything else. But I'm in. Like, I think this is 100%. This is your calling. But then I ended up taking the staffing route.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if it makes you happy, do it.
You can do both.
If it makes you happy, do it, babe. And I'm like, all right. So here I am. Thanks to him, his support, my kids, I've been able to do everything that I've been doing. And he's honestly, as of last, I'm going to say September, he's taken on more of the lead on doing more of like hands-on with the kids and taking them, the baby more so, because I was the one running him across town and then getting to where I needed to go. So he's been able to take that off my plate. We're both on a regiment right now where we try not to eat at night, so we don't technically have to make a full course dinner. It's more of the kids that need to be fed, but when they're kids,
whatever,
anything, whatever. So he's honestly been, I'm gonna say, like the backbone, right?
Oh yeah, I love that. I think that's the biggest support, and you need that, because you're juggling all this stuff, and then like for him supporting you and like just go ahead and we'll figure it out, and man, it's. What else do you want?
And it hasn't been perfect, right? Because I'll never.
Oh, nothing's ever perfect.
Right?
But you figure it out.
You start like learning how to adjust and tweak different things, right? And that's one thing that I think that I've been really good at is being resilient. Is to the course of me working since I was 14, it's like, okay, now I want this, what do I need to do, right? It's really figuring that piece out. So I guess through the course of all that knowledge, one of my interviews that I did, I was up against 14 other marketing, graduates from college. I don't have my marketing degree, by all means, I don't.
But you got the experience.
When I sat there in the interview, I'll never forget. They're like, so we understand that you don't have your marketing degree, but you have all these skills and that want to work, right? Like that hustle behind it, right? So I said, you're right. I do not have my marketing degree, but I do have my life degree because I've gone through life and I've experienced different things.
More valuable.
And I will tell you that whatever it is that you need, I will make it happen. I may not know it, but I'll learn it along the way and I'll get it done because that's just built in me. So we kind of all laughed about it. The CEO and the owner, they were like, oh my God, that is a good one, Cepi. That's funny. So they ended up selecting me to work for them. And I feel like I did a pretty decent job for them. I did pretty great. Honestly, I still have a relationship with those companies. So yeah,
Love it.
I mean, it goes to say like, and I tell everybody, do your best to try to never burn your bridges.
Oh, no.
Because you never know. I try to teach my kids that as well. Like, don't burn your bridges because
keep that door open.
You never know if they'll be your boss or you'll be the boss of them and you're going to have to work with them. So try to do your best to always have that open mindset, never dog anybody, like never downplay who they are, like always like be that person to hold their hand and help them out whenever they need it because you just never know.
Right. The world turns around too many times.
Too many times, especially if we have a long life.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the goal, right? Is like to live a long life and leave a legacy in essence, right? So that's my goal, to leave that legacy. And I can honestly say that being a mother for going to be 25 years now has really taught me a lot simultaneously. So I have a 25 and then a soon to be 2-year-old.
Wow.
All the ages.
That's a big gap.
So yeah, I'm a busy woman. So to say the least, if I can do it,
anybody can do it. That's right. No excuses.
No excuses. Yeah. Create opportunities.
Oh yeah.
So, and keep yourself accountable. And if you can't stay accountable, find you an accountability person because it's always important to have those people in your circle to push you forward and give you sometimes those hard truths. Because if you don't get those hard truths, you'll never develop to go up to the next level that you need to be at, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm about, and I hope to help so many more people. And if anybody needs help or guidance, I'm here as best as I can. If you want me to like shift you in gear, like I'll shift you in gear. Sometimes they tell me, Cepi, sometimes you give me that mom look, and I'm like, well, come on, you gotta be respectful, you know? Like, people are here giving us their time, and you're over there talking. You know, there's a time and place for everything. So it's funny. I've had a really good time. I enjoy what I do. I love people, but don't get me wrong, I love my quiet time. So weekends are really it for me, and so people think that I don't take time for myself, but I really do. I take care of myself and my children.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Especially when we grind out hard. I try to have at least one day out of the week where like I can recharge, and just like kind of like how you were saying earlier before we jumped on, it's like just that quiet time where you just want to recharge or do whatever you need to do or want to do, you know, and recharge and get ready for the week.
Yes. So
do it all over again.
Yes. So I guess there's a lot of lessons, I guess, to be learned in this podcast, right?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Lots of lessons.
Lots of lessons. There's a lot of people to connect with. I mean, if you guys know anybody that's interested in being a part of PowerHub, I tell them, look, follow us on social media. Look to see when the next date is, and then send them there. You just have to get there. Once they get there, they can make that decision if it's for them or not. And even if it's not this year, it's okay. Yeah. I tell people, guess what? It's okay. I promise you, I'm not going to be mad at you. I just want you to come see it, see if it's going to benefit you, especially if you want the help, right? If you need that extra help, come out there. And if this is not the organization for you, tell me what you need, and I'll send you that way, right? Because I've had people call me and they're like, "Hey, Cepi, I really want to go back to the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. Well, what is it that you're looking to get out of it? This is what I need. Okay, then you need to start making time to get there. Like, get to the chamber, get to the Hispanic chamber, get to the ribbon cuttings, get to the mixers, get to
Start getting involved.
GRCs, right? Go do the things that you need to be doing to start catering to your demographic of individuals. And and if not, and let's just say you want to do advertisement, what kind of who are you trying to cater to? It's like really understanding and doing some research as well. I've done a lot of research on my own. So I've been in that great trajectory where I get invited to a lot of events now because I've built that for myself, right? I've been out there, I've been exposed. I did the back end homework and wanted to get plugged into these things. So now naturally, I mean, think about it. It's from 2018 to 2025 now.
Yeah.
That's what, almost 7 years?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
But look how quickly it's
Oh, yeah, fast. Blink of an eye.
fast. And think about it. 3 of those years were like heavily wishy-washy with COVID. So, yeah, it's just finding what it is that you need. And then I'm happy to guide you, but just, I'm only one person and I'm doing all these things. So if you want to come out and get some of my knowledge, come to PowerHub. Call me and meet me for a coffee. Everybody knows that I'm a caffeaholic. I will do a coffee connection. Yeah, like we can sit down for 30 minutes in the morning, right? And say like, all right, what is it that you need? Let's have a coffee and let's get to it, right? I'm a very down to the point person, or if you want to shoot the shit, we can shoot the shit. I mean, if you have 2 hours of lunch and I have 2 hours of lunch, we can do the 2 hours of lunch, but now I got to modify my schedule.
Right.
You got to modify your schedule, but it just depends on what that need looks like, right? We can do a luncheon. You can come and meet me at my office. I can become very accessible. It's just, it has to be given to me, right? Like you have to voice that to me. You have to tell me like what those needs are in order for me to fulfill that. So, I mean, I hope that, you, Rudy, kind of going back to you, do you feel like you've gotten what you wanted from being a part of PowerHub? You went to one of the meetings last year, so you kind of saw the whole lay of the land.
As far as like everything's been ran, I really like it because you do get different points of views and meeting different people within the group. You get their point of view in their industry, and you can take little nuggets from each person that they share and kind of implement it, or say, I've never thought of it like that, and let me try for this business and stuff like that.
That network.
So it's definitely been useful, and I'll be able to start going more now because I modified my schedule to where I'm not taking certain clients during certain times. On Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So Tuesdays is now what we're doing PowerHub. It used to be the something Thursday.
Yeah.
And I actually surveyed the members and I'm like, okay, would you come on a Tuesday or a Thursday? This time or this time? And majority ruled Tuesday. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to change it for Tuesday, but I'm going to do it the first Tuesday of the month. And you know why we do it the first Tuesday of the month?
Why?
Because it helps kick off your week and it helps kick off your month.
Oh, yeah.
So there's strategy behind that as well, right? Like it's a very, like my girlfriend most recently said, you have to be methodical on it, right? What's going to make sense for people that are participating and what's going to set the tone. So if I do anything more so when it comes to the knowledge side, it's what's going to benefit the business owner, what day of the week, what's going to help kick us off. And let's do it on a Tuesday, and it's from 11:30 to 12:30. I've done it now the power hour. It used to be 11 to 1. Now it's 11:30 to 12:30. So you still have to do 2 hours of your time because it's commuting there and then commuting back, right? And if you want to stick around and do networking. So I always tell people, a lot of people say, oh, it's another networking thing. I just want to clarify this in front of everybody is we're primarily professional business development with the side effect of networking. Our primary goal is not for you just to network. Our primary goal is for you to get that education, that business knowledge, professionally develop, because that's what it's doing too, right? It's professionally developing an individual. And with the side effect of networking, that's like icing on the cake, right? And that's, love it. And that's beautiful because what in essence let's just say you wanted to meet somebody in a certain industry, you come to PowerHub and there they are.
Yep.
But it would have taken you how long to try to find them, who they are, do the research and whatever.
And make that connection.
Yeah, and make the connection. Or if you go to the chamber, you do the same thing. Like you're going to find them quicker going to these different organizations.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you've done a little bit of homework and say, oh, they're a chamber member, or they're a PowerHub member, or they're a Rotarian, or they're a BNI member. I'm going to sign up because I want their business, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to also put that thought behind it, right? Because you as a business owner, the last thing you want to do is spend all your time when you can cut it short.
Right.
So I guess to sum it all up is we want to cut that time shorter.
Right.
And give you valuable resources. So I guess that really sums it up.
It was the best, yeah.
Is like, how can we help you? How can we support you? And how can we keep you accountable is one of those things. And we're hoping to keep people more accountable this year, is like, get it together. You know, get it together.
Let's get it together.
Hey, you want to step up to the next level? You got to get it
That's
together.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You gotta get
no
it
matter
together.
what level it is, you got to get it together. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get it together. So, I mean, I'm grateful for you to ask me to come out and.
Yeah, we thank you for
Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of share your background. I didn't know a lot of stuff you shared, and kind of give people more of a insight of you, but also the reason, but then the club too, so then people can get more education, just because I don't think a lot of people know about it too sometimes, or know what it is. They just see PowerHub and they're like, what is that? So now at least they have a better understanding of what's going on with everything. Yeah, so
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you
year
for letting me share that background. And
oh yeah,
there had to, obviously with history, that's why people like you, 13 years of doing this. And I know Rudy's history is he was an accountant.
Yeah.
And
now fitness coach.
there you go. It's a mobility coach.
Yeah, mobility coach.
Because a lot of people don't consider those things. Think about it.
Yeah.
You're stuck in an office and you're
been there, done that.
the grind, because you have to sit there and do all this.
Get
and
tight.
You don't think about all that.
You don't think about like
Hips,
what it
back.
does to your body, right?
No.
So sometimes it's too late, you know, and when, I mean, not
Trying to
too late, but
reverse
when you
it.
try to reverse it, it takes you longer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I get it. So, yeah. So I will tell you, I guess, on a side note, I love fitness. It's been ingrained in me since I was.
You still have time for that? How long are your days?
All right, let me walk you through my morning. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So mornings, I was typically waking up at 4:35. With baby being sick, and more so like with a toddler, it's harder. Okay.
Right.
So my schedule has adjusted. So if I'm up by like 5:36, I get in my workout, even if it's for 15 minutes.
Right.
15 minutes. And then I get myself ready to get my butt to work. So then I get myself to work, do what I need to do. And because now my husband is picking up both the babies, I'm able to either stay longer and get stuff done in the office, or I'm now going to a ribbon cutting or doing some type of event if that's on the schedule. If not, I get home and then I'm in essence not making dinner, but I'm spending time with my kids, doing that. Then, of course, spending time with my husband at night, a little bit of quality time, get to bed. Probably if I'm not working on PowerHub, I'm by 9 o'clock, 9:30-ish. And then, or if I'm not watching a show that I want to watch, and then waking back up and doing it all over again. So it just depends on what that looks like. I've had to modify it just because of baby being a baby right now. But ideally speaking, once I start building my patterns of sleep better, I don't mind waking up at 4:30 in the morning.
Back into that routine.
I love fitness. It's like, I'm telling you, I love it. So remember when I met you for the first time? They're like, all right, Cepi, get in here and do this. And I'm like, I love this.
Yeah.
Do it. You know, so I did like 10 or something. I don't remember those squats.
Some squats,
But of course, there's more intricate stuff that I'm sure he can teach, right? I don't know. But I do that. But if anything else comes into play, I tell everybody, I have the same 24 hours everybody does. It's just how I decide to prioritize my day.
Yeah.
But I typically in the mornings is when I get my workout done. So I have my routine. I'm drinking my water first thing in the morning, making my coffee, getting to the gym. The babies are still asleep. The family's still kind of asleep. Then I'm listening to whatever I'm listening to. Typically right now, my son has got me on this doing the Bible for 365 days. So
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that. If not, I'm listening to a podcast, some type of elevating my mindset
Right.
podcast,
Positive.
right? Positive, some type of education, right? I'm feeding my brain.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, I'm like I don't do my shakes anymore, so how I used to, but I try to get a banana in or something. Like right now I'm hungry,
nice.
but getting something in my system and more water, drinking my coffee, and then getting on with my day. So there's I have my little regiment that I have going on. I could be better, but I'll start shifting and changing.
Oh yeah. Right now, I mean, I understand with the baby, it's a little harder.
It is harder.
Yeah.
And then
But I
my
think you're doing great.
husband-
Yeah.
Yeah, and my husband too, he just started through his whole course of his injury. He was not really being active. More so since last year, he started picking that up, and he's doing so great.
That's wonderful.
He's
Heck yeah.
cut down. He's working out.
That's
I have a
amazing.
gym in my house, by the way.
Yeah,
just
there you
FYI. So I have a gym in my
Yeah.
home, and we're able to utilize. I have a squat rack. I
Oh,
have
perfect.
a
Everything.
punching bag. We have the treadmill. We have what's that machine that has the little arms you can put up or
cable?
down? The cable
The
machine.
cable
Yeah.
machine.
It's a dual, so it's
You got
got it.
everything.
We got
That's
it.
all you
Yeah,
need.
the whole
We got
gym.
it. We got it. So,
Full body workout.
yes. So between my kids and myself and my husband, we utilize our home gym. I used to go to the gym, but now because of my life,
Get the gym
I
at home
have
now.
Time to drive to the gym.
we just started adding pieces.
Yeah,
to
that's
it.
how you
So
do it.
My husband's like, babe, do you think we should start going to the gym just to kind of do something different? Or you can come to my work. We have a gym there. Do you want to come work with me? Because I do miss the reverse hack squat machine.
yeah.
Oh, I miss it so much. I even miss I have this one at home, but it's a little one, baby one. It's not nothing like the gym has.
Yeah.
But I miss the curls.
Leg
curls.
The leg
extensions.
curls, and
Yeah.
then when you lay down and you do the hamstring
Yeah.
curls. I miss all of that. I don't have that, but we have enough, to
Oh,
get
yeah.
us by. But I told him, no, I think we should just stick with what we have,
For right now.
Eventually. Yeah,
Mhm,
for
yeah.
right now, eventually, maybe we'll both hire.
Yeah, there you go.
Here. My husband's gonna be like, hey, get us a coach, and I'm like, all right, let's call Rudy. He'll come
Yeah.
here, or we'll go to Rudy.
Right.
Are you still at the same gym?
Yeah, I'm still at
Okay,
the same
yeah.
gym elite.
Yeah. But right now, I think we're right now in a good position where he's starting to do more. I love
that's
seeing
perfect.
his, he's more active. He's cutting weight. He's feeling good about himself. And I think we're there right now together. We're
That's good. Yeah,
It's going towards a positive
Yeah.
path again, in terms of like our physical,
Right.
like
Health and
health
everything.
and mental and all that. So I think we're on a good trajectory. So
Well,
needless
God
to
bless.
say, you have to be in a good position to keep giving positive,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's always going to be my goal, is taking care of my family and myself, so that way, because if you're not happy, you can't give it to
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
100%.
Starts with you.
Yeah, it starts with us. So that's me in a nutshell. I mean, I think
I love it.
I told you I can talk.
Oh, yeah, you're a talker.
153.
So we'll start wrapping up the podcast. For the last part, if there's any one piece of advice you'd give people, whether it's fitness, life, business, whatever it is, what would that one piece be?
I'll give you my quote. Believers become achievers. Believers become
Love it.
achievers.
Like
If you
that
believe
one.
it, you'll become it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, what you think about, you bring about.
Bring it back.
100%.
You think negative,
Yeah.
output's always going to be negative.
Yeah.
So
Love
if
that
you
part.
think positive, you're always going to give it out. If you believe you can do something, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you believe you can do, that's what's going to happen.
No, I can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the truth.
Love it. Yeah, it's the truth.
Think about it. All those people that are doing big things in this world, they believed they could and they did it. Right? It wasn't easy sometimes, but
Yeah.
you figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I love it. Well, thanks again for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate you
Yes.
sharing your story and all the extra insights we got about you that I did not know.
See, sometimes people need to know these things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so then we'll keep texting you, hey, Cepi.
Hey, you guys want to know? Come on over and we'll talk to you about it. No, but yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate you guys. I
Thank
love
you
what
for
you guys
coming.
are doing.
Appreciate it.
I honestly encourage you guys also to collaborate with other podcasts. Go sit and be a guest at theirs and have them come out and be a guest at yours. And
That's a good one. We should definitely try that.
that
Yeah.
would be really good for you guys just to just to really bring that collaborative piece and tap into other businesses and start getting that knowledge too from
Yeah.
those. Because I know, have you guys heard of Our 2 Cents podcast?
No.
So that's one of the
I've heard
perks.
about it.
That's one of the perks through PowerHub as well is Amanda DiGiacomo Jones now. She is one of a few of the partners that run Our 2 Cents podcast, and it's Our 2 TWO cents. And she does, they do that podcast, and you're welcome to come in and
Oh yeah.
do a podcast with them and then invite them to come and do a
Oh yeah,
podcast
for sure.
with you.
Oh,
That'd
yeah.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Just
it's,
Good
kinda
network.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
great knowledge, great insights. So see, my brain already kind of like
Connecting already. Already still working.
always does.
And it's a Sunday.
Sometimes I like lose my train of thought because it's Sunday, and I'm trying to like bring it
Yeah.
down, and regenerate. But you guys got what I meant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 So
We appreciate it.
hopefully it's good insights for everybody. I do appreciate everything you guys are doing, like I said earlier, and thankful for Anna Marie for introducing us, Rudy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do more things this year with PowerHub and continue doing those. So if you guys ever feel that there's something that we can bring to PowerHub, always feel free to tell me. I always tell people I like to know what your needs are so that I can implement them if I can. If there's a bandwidth, and if there's not, then, we'll figure something else out. But at the end of the day, I love to hear feedback from what the needs are of our members to make sure that we're also meeting your guys' request as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again.
Love it.
So we'll catch you guys on the next episode. What's your story?